How can you maintain or perhaps even improve your level on a breakpoint? I managed to find a way to do this so it can be mastered. How? More on that later in this video. A journey of 1,000 miles starts under your feet. This is a wisdom from the land of the rising sun. Of course, these miles were not covered on foot. Vienna, Beijing, Tokyo, Matsuyama was the flight route for me this week. Together with Yuri Rodionov and Mate Dodik, a challenger tournament was on the agenda for us. And Matsuyama was the first part of this journey. The city of 500,000 inhabitants is located on the smallest of Japan's four main islands, Shikoku. Due to the time change, Mate Dodik of course arrived a few days earlier. Jet lag was still an issue for him for the first few days, but the preparation overall went well. As mentioned in my last video, Yuri Rodionov played the challenger in Seoul, and he certainly had a good week there. After 3 wins, he lost in the semifinals to Daniel from Japan, who is also currently in the top 100. So Yuri came straight from Seoul and had no more problems with jet lag. The draw gave Yuri the chance for revenge. He was challenged again in the first round against the number 1 seed Daniel. As it is usually the case in Asia, the matches were played on hard courts. The courts themselves were not too fast, and there were plenty of courts available for practicing, which is always a pleasant side effect. The club was 45 minutes away from the hotel, depending on traffic, but the transfer by bus was well organized. The tangerine, and with it the color orange, seems to be closely associated with the city of Matsuyama. Of course, tangerines were also a must in the players' area. Otherwise, the club limited itself to the bare essentials. The hotel was in the town center, which is always a positive aspect as you can remain flexible in terms of evening activities. Although there were plenty of courts for training at the club, the surface on some courts was a lot faster. This is of course not ideal, and some matches were played on the faster courts. Lunch was provided for the players and coaches in the clubhouse. The food was free of charge for players and even the coaches, which is rarely the case at challengers. The start of the tournament on Monday brought a change, at least for Yuri. His opponent, Taro Daniel, withdrew, so either a qualifier or a lucky loser will be Yuri's opponent. Mate Dodik played against the Australian Bolt in the first round. Viewers of my videos know that I was a bit worried about Mate's shoulder during the last tournaments. And here in Japan the condition got worse. Mate was visibly limited on serve, and it got worse as the match went on. Mate therefore gave up after 3-6 and love 3. Now we hope for an improvement by next week. On Tuesday, Yuri Rodionov played against the Japanese qualifier Isomura. And it was to be a match of missed opportunities. Yuri didn't manage to get the match under control in the first set, and that wore him down so much that he let the set slip away. In the second set, he was no longer at the same level, missed several opportunities again, and ultimately lost in 2 sets. The opponent therefore deserved to win, because he brought his tennis to the court more consistently. How can you improve the utilization of opportunities in important situations? If you have problems bringing your tennis to the court when the score is important, it's because your emotions change. In my case, it was because I was giving too much importance to the situation. So I set out to reduce this pressure. Once again, this requires the ability to analyze your emotions. I found the solution for myself in not playing for the moment, but for my best self in the future. I told myself, if I'm not able to bring my tennis to the court now, I won't achieve my goals anyway, and to play or even win against the best players ever, I have to deliver what I intend to do without compromise. For when the big point moment comes, to give you all or shame. It's not about you won or lost, it's how you played the game. This enabled me to change my emotions. I was no longer obsessed with winning the point or not losing the point. Over time, I became more and more confident until I was ready to believe that I was a big point player and eventually became one. The way there is different for everyone, but there is a way, you just have to start looking for it. Mate Dodig had his shoulder looked at. A specialist was optimistic that with a few treatments he will be able to play a tournament again next week. That was good news. So Mate and Yuri prepared themselves for next week. As always, there's a lot to do on the court, but also in conversations off the court. Thank you for your interest and see you in the next video.